Stephen Harper got to see the no-man's land of northern Iraq on Saturday as questions emerged about whether Canadian Special Forces soldiers have curtailed trips to the front line in the aftermath of a friendly fire death almost 2 months ago. The Prime Minister said he wasn't going to talk about operational details and suggested the two sides are trying to move on from the painful episode which saw Canadian and Kurdish officials pointing fingers at one another over SGT. Andrew Doiran's shooting death. "It was a terrible tragedy," said Harper, who indicated that he had not yet read the report in the confused nighttime shooting. "Well, get the facts, but let it not obscure, frankly, the respect I think we should have for the Kurdish fighters in this area. Back last summer when ISIS was literally overrunning this entire country with virtually no resistance at all, these were the people who stood up and resisted them and stopped them." The federal government also announced an additional $139 million to be spread around not only Iraq, but Syria, Jordan and Lebanon to help alleviate the burgeoning refugee crisis precipitated by the rise of the Islamic State. The cash is in addition to the $67 million Canada has already committed to Iraq. It was a picture-perfect photo op for Harper, who stood on a berm with binoculars overlooking rolling sun-baked fields with smoke wafting in the distance from grass fires near extremist trenches. Harper made the journey under the watchful eye of Special Forces, who by virtue of the presence of the Prime Minister's entourage of media, were forced to partially peel back the thick blanket of secrecy that cocooned their deployment since it was ordered last fall. While in Erbil, Harper received a warm welcome from Masoud Barzani, president of the Kurdistan region, and Nekhavan Barzani, the prime minister of the regional government. He met Iraq's prime minister, Haider al-Abadi, earlier in the day. The separate welcomes, aside from being a reminder of the fractured nature of this country, could also have not been more different in tone. The visit to Baghdad seemed strained and marred by tension with Iraqi officials, who had been insisting Harper appear at a joint media availability with al-Abadi. The two sides settled on brief, perfunctory photo op statements. But the mood was more relaxed and friendly in the Kurdish capital, which buzzed with construction projects and calm, secular prosperity that seems to thrive even in the face of the fire-breathing threat of ISIS. His visit to the war zone, made ahead of his planned attendance at celebrations in Europe marking 70th anniversary of the end of the Second World War, was conducted under a blanket of tight security and a partial media blackout. The US-led international coalition, which has been conducting an air campaign to support Iraqi and Kurdish forces, as well as provide badly needed training, has been insisting for months that the advance of extremists had been checked. American, British and Australian troops have been retraining the Iraqi army after it effectively melted away in the face of the ISIS advance last summer, and it was widely expected those refreshed forces would go on the offensive either this spring or summer. Aside from the Special Forces, Canada has also contributed 6 CF-18 jet fighters, a CP-140 Aurora surveillance plane and AC-150 Polaris tanker to the coalition bombing campaign.